Well, that didn't work very well, did it? Just kind of knocked it off balance. Hey, just wanted to stop and try to make a short little snippet. I started this channel or these channels to attempt to do some content that might resonate with some people from my generation. The reason I call it Back of the Boom is obviously I was born at the back of the curve in, you know, at the end of the baby boom, which would be around 65. So it's a little bit of a boomer and a little bit of a Gen Xer, I guess. Um, so many things have been going on. I haven't been able to dedicate time to making videos like I had intended, but I will continue to try to put things out there. One thing I wanted to mention is, especially with the way society's going now, a lot of us have a tendency to go back and revisit our youth with music, especially movies. But and a lot of the movies had good songs that would always draw us back to a certain time when we enjoyed our youth and we didn't have to worry about as many things as there are to worry about now. But some of those songs stand the test of time. And it's come to my attention that obviously the longer we live, the more we have to say goodbye to family and friends and even people, artists that we respected and we enjoyed their work or their catalogs. Some of the bands and some of the artists that came from my youth that even are still out there now in some form or fashion that are fun to listen to or fun to go see. There's just not that many more. Some have just ended up having to retire because of age or health or something of that nature. But what I would task everybody with is just to find some of those songs from some of the bands that you enjoyed. In my case, there was a lot of them like Styx, Kansas, Boston, Foreigner, Pink Floyd, Bad Company, even going back before that, which I would have been really, really young with some of the groups that they actually sprouted from. But some of those songs still stand the test of time, and in a way, I guess you could say it's soothing to go back and revisit those times. Some of them are still very relevant to current events and the world that we live in. One of the bands I listened to, Queensryche, up and until their zenith, when all the original members were there, when they were firing on all cylinders, nobody could touch them. Not in that genre anyway. But even a lot of the stuff that they put out then in the 80s are still relevant lyrically today as far as context. Um, and I guess the reason I'm putting this out right now, with all the changes that are going on, is just to get you, if you would, go back and revisit some of those songs, some of those movies, some of the books, some of the artists that spoke to you in your youth, and see if you can find some solace in revisiting those so that it brings back those memories that endear you to that time in your life. As we get older, when we find there's less time in front of us than there is behind us, we find that those things that made us gravitate to those songs, those books, those movies, some of that lingers still. Maybe we look at it with a different perspective now that we're older. We've got kids, grown kids. Some of you have grandkids. But a lot of it is not the naivety of our youth, but the hope that we had for what we saw the future and how it could be. And then when we grew up, we realized the way it really is. Then we need to go back and revisit those times just to give us a little peace, maybe peace of mind, maybe some melancholy, things not yet achieved. But I think it's important for all of us to go back and try to revisit those times. Uh, try to drop off a couple of extra videos and then see you again whenever I get all of my ducks in a row, as it were. Godspeed.